When my wife and I first came to Lanzarote about 10 years ago, we decided that we thought Playa Blanca was the best place to settle and the best place to spend a holiday. Today, 10 years later, we still feel the same, so that's good. One of the things we did was to purchase a CD with music in the background which supposedly told you all about Lanzarote. It was about the best thing the tourist office could offer. Frankly, it was inadequate. So we've had a go here at doing our own. Here I'm going to tell you in just a few minutes a little about the island, and if I'm clever enough, I'll be able to put this text to some pictures so you can see something of the island. So here we go. Lanzarote is the most easterly island in the Canary archipelago. In many ways it's unique. Although all the islands are volcanic, it's on Lanzarote that the volcanic features are the most impressive and easily approachable. It's possible to take a bus right to the very top of a volcano that, geologically speaking, has recently erupted. And an hour later you could travel over low hills of volcanic ash and cinder on a camel. Within a few kilometres of these mountains of fire, there are pretty villages of whitewashed houses, which are surrounded by vines growing in sheltered hollows in the cinders. Although all of the Canary Islands have pleasant winter weather, its Lanzarote has the most consistent climate. This is because it's situated the closest to Africa and has no high mountains. Lanzarote has more sunshine than any of the other islands. Daytime temperatures in January and February are rarely below 22 degrees C, that's 72 degrees F, and rainfall is light and falls on no more than 16 days in the entire year. This means there are 350 with none. Not surprisingly, Lanzarote has become a popular winter holiday destination for Northern Europeans. They seem to be attracted to the climate and the nature of the landscape, which is not as developed as the other islands. Cesar Manrique, artist, sculptor and environmentalist, wielded an enormous influence over Lanzarote's government and is largely responsible for preserving the island's natural state. He was well aware of the destructive consequences that tourism can bring and was determined to keep the island from being spoilt. As a result, nearly 2/3 of Lanzarote is free from tourist establishments. And where development has taken place, respect for local customs and traditions is evident. His influence can be seen everywhere, from roadside sculptures to restaurants that blend harmoniously into volcanic lava. No building is taller than a canary palm tree, and no roadside hoardings are allowed. The combination of the mild temperatures, the well-preserved landscape and the might of the volcanoes is appealing to discriminating tourists. Many return year after year. The number of British tourists alone increased from just 43,000 in 1982 to nearly 750,000 at the turn of the century. Today, 1.5 million a year visit this island. Visitors always receive a warm welcome from the Lanzaroteans, who've managed to accommodate mass tourism without sacrificing anything of their heritage. Lanzarote is one of the Canary Islands, an archipelago lying approximately 300 kilometres west of the African coast of Morocco. All the islands belong to Spain, which is 1,120 kilometres to the northeast. Lanzarote is about 60 kilometres, that's 37 miles, long, and 21 kilometres, 13 miles, wide at its broadest point. It covers some 813 square kilometres. In addition to Lanzarote, there are 6 other islands in the group: Tenerife, Gran Canaria, La Palma, Fuerteventura, La Gomera and El Hierro. There are also many numerous islets, most of which are uninhabited. Together, the Canary Islands cover approximately 7,500 square kilometres. The Canary Islands can best be thought of as tips of underwater volcanoes. There's actually a theory that the 2 most easterly islands, that's Lanzarote and Fuerteventura, were once part of the African continent, although actually there's little proof of this. More recent evidence would suggest that Lanzarote was once connected to Fuerteventura and the 2 islands were separated due to the rise in the sea level that followed the Ice Age. The first volcanic eruptions on Lanzarote occurred between 17 and 20 million years ago, and they've continued until recently. Well-documented eruptions took place in the Timanfaya area between 1730 and 1736. That's the years, not the times. When the lava then and the ash covered around 2/3 of the island and buried many of the villages and all the fertile land in the process. It appears that over 30 volcanoes were spewing out their material at this time. A century later, in 1824, there was a further eruption in the same area, but it only lasted 2 months. Since then, the volcanoes of Lanzarote have been dormant, but heat remains close to the surface, and new eruptions could possibly occur at any time, although the odds of this happening are millions to 1. It's also a relief to know that the scientists monitor these volcanoes and could predict an eruption as long as a week in advance. So you should be safe on your holiday here. The climate of Lanzarote, along with that of all the Canary Islands, has been described as that as perpetual spring or eternal summer. Unlike the larger islands, such as Tenerife and Gran Canaria, there are no high mountains on Lanzarote. This results in moderate weather all the year round. The north of the island, however, is certainly windier than the rest of Lanzarote. The moist trade winds blow generally from the north, so the windward northern coast has a little more rain and cloud than the south, which is somewhat hotter and drier. The differences are not that great, however. The south of the island may enjoy as much as 2,500 hours of sunshine annually, with temperatures varying between 18 and 24 degrees C, that's 64 and 75 degrees F, in the summer, and from 16 degrees to 20 degrees, that's 61 to 68 F, in the winter, although afternoon temperatures in both winter and summer can be considerably higher. Occasionally during the summer, the hot Sirocco wind blows from the Sahara, bringing desert dust and high temperatures. Locals refer to this phenomenon as tiempo africano, African weather. Rainfall is generally light, averaging just 4.6 inches, with the wettest months being January and October. Farmers rely on the nightly dew to aid their cultivation. A cool Canary current flows from the north and ensures the sea temperatures are a little lower than you would expect. They're normally around 18 to 20 degrees throughout the year. But significantly, the lack of rain and the average temperatures around 24 degrees in the afternoon throughout the entire year make Lanzarote an ideal all year round holiday destination.